the day the sky fell. The first scream came from the harbor. By the time Superman reached the waterfront, the sky was already tearing open. Not clouds, reality itself. A jagged rift split the heavens, spilling out a storm of burning light. From it poured creatures unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Winged titans of black steel, their feathers razor-sharp, their eyes molten gold. They didn't just fly. They hunted. Ships in the bay were ripped apart like toys. Cargo cranes toppled. The air was filled with the sound of metal screaming against metal. Superman didn't hesitate. He shot upward, a red-blue streak against the chaos, smashing through the first wave. But for every creature he brought down, 3 more emerged from the rift. And then, he saw him. Hovering at the center of the rift, commanding the swarm with a single raised hand, was a man in black and crimson armor. The house of El crest burning on his chest. The armor was familiar. The face beneath it even more so. Older, harder, eyes like cold fire. Val-El, Superman whispered. His grandfather, alive, and leading the attack. 3 weeks earlier, there had been no sign of him. The Fortress of Solitude had detected a faint Kryptonian signal, ancient, almost lost to time. Clark had followed it to the edge of the Arctic, where a massive ship lay buried beneath the ice. When the hull opened, the man who stepped out was not the warlord now tearing Metropolis apart. He was a weary traveler, silver-haired, his voice warm with recognition. Kal-El, he had said, pulling Clark into an embrace. My grandson, my blood. For days, they spoke of Krypton, of its beauty, its science, its fall. Val-El told stories Clark had never heard, painted visions of civilization so advanced it made Earth look primitive. But there had been something in his tone. A weight, a judgment. One night, standing atop the Daily Planet building, Val-El had gestured to the city below. They are fragile, he said. You could rule them, Kal. Protect them from themselves. That's not protection, Clark replied. That's control. Val-El's smile had been thin. Control is the only protection that lasts. The first attack came 2 days later. The winged titan struck without warning. In South America, Asia, Africa. Superman raced across the globe, saving lives, but the creatures vanished as quickly as they appeared. The next day, Val-El appeared on every broadcast. I can end this, he declared. And he did, or seemed to. He destroyed the creatures in a spectacular battle, broadcast live. The world hailed him as a savior. Clark had been suspicious. The timing was too perfect. The attacks too coordinated. His investigation led him to a hidden base beneath the Arctic ice. Inside were cages, empty now, large enough to hold the winged titans. And in the center, a console bearing the house of El Crest. Val-El hadn't saved Earth from the creatures. He had unleashed them. Now, in the present, the truth was undeniable. The rift above Metropolis widened, and Val-El descended through it, the swarm parting around him like a tide. His armor was a darker reflection of Superman's. Same lines, same crest, but forged for war. Black plates edged in crimson, glowing with alien energy. Kal, he called, his voice carrying over the chaos. Stand with me. Together, we can make this world unbreakable. Superman hovered in front of him, fists clenched. By conquering it, by saving it from itself. The battle was instant. Val-El moved with the precision of a soldier who had fought 100 wars. Every strike was calculated to break Superman's guard, every feint a trap. The swarm dove in, forcing Clark to split his focus, protect the city, or fight his grandfather. Buildings crumbled. Streets split open. The harbor burned. On the ground, people watched in shock. Some cheered Val-El, remembering the hero who had saved them weeks ago. Others screamed for Superman. The city was divided, and Val-El knew it. This is what they do, Kal, Val-El said between blows. They turn on their protectors. They question. They doubt. I will give them something they cannot doubt. Power. Superman broke free, slamming Val-El into the side of a skyscraper. Glass rained down. You're not protecting them, Clark said. You're replacing their freedom with fear. Val-El's eyes glowed. Fear keeps them alive. The fight tore through the skyline. Superman tried to push Val-El toward the rift, but the older Kryptonian countered, driving him into the harbor. Water exploded upward as they hit, waves swallowing the docks. Underwater, Val-El's strength was relentless. He pinned Clark against the seabed, pressing down with crushing force. "You've been playing hero, Cal. I've been preparing for war." Clark blasted upward, breaking the surface in a spray of seawater. He rocketed into the sky, drawing Val-El away from the city. But the swarm followed, and with them came the rift, expanding, pulling at the edges of reality. Through it, Clark glimpsed something worse, the silhouettes of warships, massive and waiting. This wasn't just an attack. It was an invasion. Val-El saw his hesitation and pressed the advantage, slamming Clark back toward the city. "Join me," he said, "or watch your world burn." Superman's answer was a punch that sent Val-El crashing into the waterfront. The shockwave shattered windows for blocks. The swarm hesitated. For a moment, the city was silent except for the crackle of fires. Then Val-El rose from the rubble, armor scorched but eyes burning brighter than ever. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The warlord's promise." The rift above Metropolis didn't close. It grew. From its burning edges, the silhouettes of warships emerged, each one the size of city block, their hulls carved with alien runes that pulsed like beating hearts. The swarm of winged titans circled them like vultures, their screeches echoing across the skyline. Val-El hovered at the center, his black and crimson armor gleaming in the firelight. "People of Earth," his voice boomed, carried on every broadcast, every device. "You have seen your fragility. You have seen your weakness. I offer you strength. I offer you survival." Crowds gathered in the streets, staring upward. Some were terrified. Others were listening. Superman landed on the Daily Planet rooftop, scanning the fleet. His comm crackled, Batman's voice sharp and urgent. "They're not here for Earth, Clark. They're here for him." "I know," Clark replied. "And if he gets what he wants, Earth won't just be under his rule. It'll be part of their empire." Val-El descended into the city, the swarm parting for him. He landed in the middle of Centennial Square, where cameras and drones swarmed to capture every second. "I will unite this world," he declared. "No more borders. No more division. One law, one shield, one ruler." Superman dropped from the sky, landing opposite him. "And if they say no?" Val-El's smile was cold. "They won't." The first blast came from above, a beam of searing energy from one of the warships. Superman intercepted it mid-air, the force driving him back through a building. Debris rained down, but he was already moving, already countering. Val-El didn't flinch. "You protect them from danger. I will make them untouchable." By making them prisoners, Clark shot back. The fight erupted again, faster and harder than before. Val-El's strikes were surgical, designed to push Clark toward the square's center, toward the massive alien device being assembled there. Superman caught a glimpse of it between blows, a towering spire of black alloy, its core pulsing with crimson light. He recognized the design from Kryptonian archives, a planetary command node. Once activated, it could override every defense system on Earth and link them directly to Val-El's fleet. High above, the Justice League engaged the alien warships. Wonder Woman's sword clashed against drone fighters, Flash blurred through enemy fire. Green Lantern's constructs shielded civilians. But the fleet was massive, and for every ship they disabled, two more took its place. On the ground, Superman tried to break past Val-El to reach the node. But his grandfather anticipated every move, countering with brutal efficiency. "You're still holding back," Val-El said, blocking a punch and driving his knee into Clark's ribs. "That's why you'll lose." "I'm holding back because you're my family," Clark growled. "I stopped being your family the moment you chose them over me." The node's core began to glow brighter. Alien glyphs spiraled across its surface, syncing with the warships above. The air vibrated with power. Batman's voice cut through the comm again. "Clark, you've got minutes before that thing locks the planet down." "I can't get to it without going through him," Clark replied. "Then go through him." Val-El lunged, But this time Clark didn't dodge. He met the strike head-on, the impact cracking the pavement beneath them. The shockwave rippled through the square, scattering debris and sending civilians scrambling. The two Kryptonians blurred through the air, trading blows that shattered windows and bent steel. Every strike was a clash of ideals as much as strength, freedom against control, hope against fear. Finally, Superman drove Val-El back far enough to make a break for the node. He hit the ground running, cape snapping behind him. But before he could reach it, a wall of winged titans dropped from the sky, blocking his path. Val-El's voice echoed over the chaos. "You can't stop this, Cal. This world will be mine. And when it is, no one will ever dare threaten it again." Superman tore through the first wave of creatures, but more kept coming. Above, the warships shifted formation, their weapons aligning with the node. The sky turned blood red as the final activation sequence began. Clark knew he had seconds, and Val-El was already coming for him again. The lockdown. The sky over Metropolis was no longer blue. It pulsed, deep crimson waves rolling across the clouds, each beat in sync with the planetary command node's core. The alien spire in Centennial Square had grown taller, its black alloy twisting upward like a claw reaching for the heavens. Above it, the warships descended, not cautiously, not in formation, like predators closing in for the kill. Superman hovered in the smoke-choked air, scanning the chaos. The Justice League was spread thin, Wonder Woman locked in combat with a warship's boarding party, Flash darting through collapsing streets to evacuate civilians, Green Lantern holding a crumbling bridge together with sheer willpower. And at the center of it all, Val-El stood on the spire's highest platform, arms outstretched, his black and crimson armor glowing with alien energy. The house of El crest on his chest burned like a brand. "Cal," his voice boomed, amplified through the fleet's comms, "you can't stop this. The node is already linked to the command ships. In minutes, Earth will be untouchable." "Untouchable?" Clark shot back. "Or enslaved?" Val-El's smile was almost pitying. "You still think freedom is worth the risk? I've seen what happens when you let people choose. They choose weakness." The node's core flared, sending a shock wave through the city. Every screen, every device lit up with Val-El's image. "To the people of Earth," he said, "your world is about to join something greater. You will never fear again. You will never want again. You will never be alone again." In living rooms, in streets, in shelters, people watched. Some cried in relief, others in dread. Superman dove toward the spire, but the winged titans swarmed him instantly. Their talons scraped against his suit, their screeches deafening. He blasted through them with heat vision, but more replaced them. From above, Val-El watched like a general surveying a battlefield. "You can't fight them all, Cal. Not and save the city." Clark's comm crackled, Batman's voice low and urgent. "Clark, the node's activation is at 72%. Once it hits 100, every defense system on Earth will be under his control. You'll have seconds to shut it down." "I can't get close," Clark replied, slamming a titan into the pavement. "Then make a hole," Batman said. Superman rocketed upward, breaking through the swarm in a burst of speed. He aimed straight for Val-El, but his grandfather was ready. The older Kryptonian met him mid-air, their collision sending a shockwave that rippled across the skyline. They traded blows at blinding speed, each strike a thunderclap. Val-El's style was ruthless, every move designed to kill. Clark's was controlled, every move designed to stop. "You're holding back," Val-El snarled, driving a punch into Clark's jaw. "You're my blood," Clark said, blocking the next strike. "And you're my failure," Val-El spat. Below them, the node's core reached 90%. The warships began to lower massive, anchor-like structures into the city, planetary tethers that would lock Earth in place within the fleet's network. The ground shook, buildings cracked. The air was thick with the hum of alien machinery. Superman broke away from Val-El, diving toward the node. But before he could reach it, a massive energy shield flared to life around the spire. The impact threw him back into the air. Val-El landed on the platform, hands on the console. "It's over, Cal. In 10 seconds, This world will be mine. Clark hovered in the air, chest heaving, mind racing. He could try to break the shield, but it would take too long. Or he could take the fight to Val-El directly, risking everything in one final push. The timer on the node's core ticked down. 00:00:09. 00:00:08. Blood in the sky. The timer on the planetary command node glared like a heartbeat. 00:00:09. 00:00:08. Superman and Val-El hit each other midair with the force of colliding meteors. The shockwave tore through Centennial Square, shattering glass for blocks. Civilians screamed and scattered as debris rained down. Above them, the alien fleet shifted into final formation. Massive anchor-like tethers extended toward the city, glowing with crimson energy. Once they locked in, Earth would be chained to the fleet's network forever. Val-El's armor blazed with alien power, every strike heavier than the last. "You can't win, Cal," he growled, driving a punch into Superman's ribs that sent him crashing through the side of a skyscraper. "You're fighting me, my army, and the will of the people who already believe in me." Clark burst back through the dust and steel, eyes burning. They believe in a lie. The fight was a blur, heat vision clashing mid-air, sonic booms cracking the sky, fists breaking sound barriers. Every blow carried decades of Kryptonian combat mastery from Val-El, countered by Clark's raw speed and unyielding will. Below, the Justice League fought to keep the city from collapsing entirely. Wonder Woman deflected plasma fire from the warships. Flash evacuated the last civilians from the blast radius. Green Lantern's constructs strained against the weight of falling towers. The node's timer hit 5 seconds. Batman's voice cut through Clark's comm. "Cal, you've got one shot. Take him out or take the node. You can't do both." Clark's jaw tightened. "Then I'll take him out through the node." He feinted left, drawing Val-El into a counterstrike, then caught his grandfather's arm mid-swing. With a roar, he spun, using Val-El's own momentum to hurl him straight into the node's energy shield. The impact cracked the barrier, sparks exploding outward. Val-El snarled, forcing himself free. "You destroy Kryptonian technology to save them?" "I destroy anything to save them," Clark shot back. The timer hit 3 seconds. Clark rocketed forward, slamming into Val-El with everything he had. They crashed through the shield, into the node's core chamber. Energy arced around them, burning the air. Val-El grabbed Clark by the throat, forcing him toward the console. "If you shut this down, the fleet will attack without restraint. Millions will die. If I don't, they'll never be free." 2 seconds, Clark twisted free, driving Val-El into the console. The core flared violently, alarm screaming. 1 second, Val-El's eyes glowed, heat vision ready to fire point blank. Clark's fist connected first, sending him sprawling across the chamber. Midnight, the core went dark. Above the city, the alien fleet's tethers retracted. Confusion rippled through their ranks. Without the node's signal, their formation broke. The League seized the moment, forcing the ships back toward the rift. But Val-El wasn't finished. He rose from the wreckage, armor scorched, eyes still burning. "This isn't over, Cal. You've only delayed the inevitable." Clark stood between him and the console, chest heaving. "Then I'll delay it as long as it takes." The last stand. The rift above Metropolis was collapsing, but the war wasn't over. The alien fleet hung in the sky like vultures, their weapons still primed. The planetary command node lay in ruins, but Val-El still stood, his black and crimson armor cracked, glowing with unstable alien energy. Superman landed in the rubble, cape torn, breathing hard. "It's over," he said. Val-El's eyes burned. "No, Cal. It's just begun." They moved at the same time. The impact shook the ground, sending shock waves through the shattered square. Every punch was a thunderclap, every block a clash of steel and will. Val-El fought like a man with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. "You could have ruled beside me," he roared, driving Clark back toward the edge of the platform. "I'd rather fall than stand over a world in chains." Clark shot back, slamming his fist into Val-El's chest plate, denting the crest. Above them, the fleet began to descend again. Without the node, they were acting on instinct, and instinct meant destruction. Batman's voice cut through the calm. Cal, the fleet's charging weapons. You've got one chance to end this before they fire. Val-El lunged, locking Clark in a crushing grip. You can't stop them without me. Let me lead, and I'll call them off. Clark met his gaze. You're right. I can't stop them without you, but I can stop you. With a surge of strength, he broke free, grabbed Val-El by the armor, and launched them both into the sky. They tore through the clouds, past the warships, into the thin edge of space. Stars surrounded them. Earth glowed below. This is your last chance, Clark said. Val-El's answer was a punch that sent them spinning. They collided again, the vacuum silent, but the force enough to rattle the fleet. Clark's heat vision flared, forcing Val-El back toward the flagship. With one final push, he drove his grandfather into the ship's reactor core. The explosion lit the void. The fleet faltered, their formations breaking. Without their leader's signal, they turned and fled through the collapsing rift. In the silence that followed, Clark found Val-El drifting, unconscious but alive. He caught him, staring at the man who was both his blood and his greatest enemy. He couldn't kill him, but he couldn't let him stay. Minutes later, a containment pod drifted away from Earth, its course set for a remote, uncharted system. Inside, Val-El stirred, eyes opening just enough to see the shrinking blue planet. His lips curved into the faintest smile. Back on Earth, the people cheered. The banners came down. The skies cleared. But Superman stood on the Daily Planet rooftop, watching the stars. He knew Val-El was still out there, and somewhere beyond him, the galaxy was still watching. For now, Earth was safe, but the war for its soul was far from over. Saga ends in the cold darkness of space. The pod drifted toward a distant star, and the warlords who had once called Val-El their ally